And this is me again. Short chapter, so I'll probably be updating two at once. Yeah. Tikal Chapter 4. Tagan Tume 2. By Dania61192. And original story and characters and stuff by Scott Westerfield. Awesome people. Thank you all. Like and subscribe. No, okay, just kidding. Thanks for watching. Enjoy the show. The next few days had been hectic. Volga had been looking for an excuse to send Alec to Central America quietly. He didn't want the Austro-Hungarians to find out and start a revolution, after all. It was only a few days after Volga and Alec's discussion that a letter with suspiciously good timing arrived. Volga took it to Alec's room and knocked softly. "Come in," Alec said. The Count opened his door and found Alec sitting on his bed with Volga, the creature in his lap, looking at the locket that had once belonged to Alec's father. Inside was a photograph of his mother, beautiful and young. Sitting on the bed the way he was, Alec resembled his mother more than usual. Soft and pensive he looked, just like she had been. "Your Highness," Volga said, "I believe a way for you to go to Central America has presented itself." Alec jumped up, accidentally sending Bovril to the floor. He had been letting the perspicacious Loris babble to him about the past few days, hoping its perspicaciousness would help him figure things out. The creature let out a dramatic, exaggerated scream, which he may have found amusing if he wasn't in such a rush. "Yes? How?" "The United Darwinist Society of Russia and Mexico have sent you an invitation to come visit their facilities." Volga read, "I believe they are currently looking for more sponsors, but they're located in Tikal." Alec froze. The United Darwinist Society of Russia and Mexico? This couldn't be where Darren was. He thought they referred to themselves as Dexterra Domini, after all. He explained this to the Count. Volga looked thoughtful. "That is a rather uncommon name, sure to scare off the dignities. Your Highness, with a name meaning the right hand of God, I wouldn't use it in front of anyone but members. Perhaps they refer to themselves as the United Darwinist Society of Russia and Mexico to appeal to other countries. It is a much more peaceful name, after all." This made sense. It was a strange name and was sure to scare off dignitaries from sponsoring them. So perhaps they did use a different name in all their public relations. Volga continued reading aloud. "The airship, called the Gondolin, leaves from Sicily in 3 days. It takes you over America and to Guatemala, where it stops for 2 days before flying to Africa." Alec interrupted. "Africa?" Jasper hadn't mentioned that. Volga nodded. "Apparently, they have been working in Tikal, but their base of operations is in the Belgian Congo." Alec was surprised. Belgian Congo was a dark place, with its thick rainforests and bloody civil wars. The Congo River flowed through it, deep and full of dangerous creatures. Alec had heard rumors that the local boffins used it as a dumping ground for their failed fabrications. "Anyways, you will leave for Caltanissetta tomorrow, to the estate of a man called Aurelio. He owns the Gondolin and must be funding this trip. That is, if you still wish to go, Your Highness." Alec thought for a moment, but he didn't even think of changing his mind. "Yes, I'll be there." "Good," said the Count. "Alexander, seeing as the current state of your empire, I think it would be wise if I stayed here." Alec wasn't expecting that. It seemed like everywhere he went for more than a few days the Count would go too, but still it would be a good idea to have him stay behind and handle the state affairs. If ever there was a man Alec trusted his entire kingdom to, it was Volga. "Yes, Count, that would be helpful. Thank you," he said slowly. Volga nodded. "Take Bauer and Klopp with you, and Hoffman and I may be able to join you and Darren in the second half in Africa. We will try, but I can't promise anything." "And Darren?" Alec agreed. Yes, I'd like them to join me if they could. Good. Then I shall tell them to get packing, and I suggest you do the same, he replied and left the room. Fulger, called Alec, are you so sure she's there? He asked, with a touch of anxiety in his voice. Your Highness, you may want to take another look at the letter. And with that, he was off. Alec raised an eyebrow and lifted the letter the Count had left on his nightstand. Poivre climbed up on his arm and perched on his shoulder. Alec examined the letter front and back and found nothing unusual. He flipped it over and read it twice through, and still nothing. He flipped it over to the back and saw something at the bottom, etched into the paper, as if someone had pressed hard on the pencil while writing and then erased it. He took the paper to his desk and sat it down. This was a trick Darren had showed him that she had used whenever she needed to write to Jasper something that would reveal her gender from the Leviathan. He took a pencil and held it at an angle, gently rubbing it over the etched marks. Words appeared there. He couldn't make it out at first, but as he continued rubbing it with his pencil, he saw Tagan Tume. What did that mean? It looked familiar, but Alec couldn't quite place it. Bovril, reading over his shoulder, pronounced it in a way that sounded correct, but it still didn't ring any bells. What did the Count mean? Still sleepy, Alec went back to his bed to lie down. Bovril kept repeating the phrase, sounding Scottish when it did so. Almost like Darren. She had taught him quite a bit of Gaelic years ago, which Alec picked up well, but with no one to speak it to, he had forgotten much of it. He closed his eyes and tried to remember. May was obviously me. He knew that much. He couldn't sleep, not with Poivre pacing on his stomach, repeating the phrase over and over. Come find me, the creature said, in a very distinct and familiar Scottish voice. Alec's eyes shot open. That was it. Darren Sharp was definitely in Tikal, and she needed Alec to find her.